Here recently, I've started to think that it might be cool to bookend my career with Publix. Here's what I mean by that. Since I started back in high school at store 241 on Cove Road in Stuart, Florida, and first real job, again, as far as a punch in and punch out, I could end my career at Publix. Like, obviously, I'm not working there now and I'd have to go back to work, but I have a plan for that. See, I was a little disappointed when I moved up to Orlando to go to UCF, done some videos on my whole college experience. They're on this channel as well, where I go into all of the college stuff. It was pretty entertaining. It was kind of not the best time of my life, but whatever. And one of the big disappointments was it's a long story, but I could not get on with Publix when I moved to Orlando. There was something goofy that happened. It's a long story. It's no big deal, but I couldn't get on with Publix. So I had to, part-time jobs, I had to go different directions. It was like Wendy's, and there was a telemarketing gig that I did for about 90 minutes. And there was some other stuff. That's neither here nor there. Now, in hindsight, obviously, with doing Truck U for as long as that's been going, and Trucks Gone Wild and all this other stuff, things have worked out pretty good, right? I don't regret anything that's happened, but I would be foolish to think that those things could last forever. They won't. Nothing does in the world of entertainment. It's all going to come to an end at some point. But before I get done and before I cash in my chips, I thought it would be cool to work at Publix one more time. I'm not talking about months, weeks. I'm talking about like an hour, like a 1 hour shift at Publix, just to say I started and I ended at Publix. Now, I've talked about some lessons that I learned at Publix in one of the other videos, and I just remembered another very important one. And years ago, I think I did a video on this anyway, and it was that the old men that worked at Publix when I was in high school taught me, because they're basically all of the bagging staff at Publix at the time, it was high school kids and like retiree age men. And let's say there were 8 of those older guys there, which I'm rapidly approaching their age. So when I say old men, I don't mean it bad. I'm just saying comparative to a bunch of teenage kids, right? So there's 8 old dudes working there. And the thing about them was 4 of them were there because they needed the money. And 4 of them didn't need money. They were just out there to do something social. I don't know what happened to the 4 that needed the money, but I know they worked there because they depended on a paycheck for whatever reason. The other 4 were just hanging out. They wanted to get out of the house, and I don't know, they like to talk to us young kids because we would just laugh so much. And as high school kids, like let's be honest, all the women and girls coming into Publix, like we would check out some of them. The old men, they were checking out every female that came into the store, and they were hilarious because they all had comments. You'd be walking out with somebody and they'd be walking in. They would just be like, oh yeah, look at that. And you're like, you guys are dirty old men. But it was so funny. It was such a good time. But that was a huge lesson for me. It was like, I remember thinking, no offense to the 4 that needed the money. I was like, but I want to do everything I can do throughout my life to where when I'm old, I don't want to be starving for money. I'd rather be broke, which I was for a long time ago. I'd rather be broke young and not broke old, So it wasn't Publix that taught me that, but it was definitely the working experience there at Publix that taught me that. But shifting back to ending my career, I think it'd be cool. I doubt that Publix would hire me for an hour. It's probably not worth the onboarding and all this that you got to go through. So here's my thing. I can get one of those name tags. I can get the clothes. I'm thinking one day before I just shut it all down, I could just get dressed, pull into the parking lot, park, walk in, and start bagging groceries. That's all I want to do. I don't want to stock the shelves. I don't want to be in the meat department. That's complicated stuff. I want to bag groceries like we did when I was in high school, because that was fun. I love it to this day. Man, when I go to Publix and I've got a lot of groceries and the store's busy so the bagger doesn't show up, I'm like, put me in, coach. It's all good. And I'm bagging. And then they come over and they're like, can I help you? I'm like, man, I got this. If you don't mind, I've got this. And I'm not, no disrespect to them. I'm just in my element. It's like I'm playing Tetris. There's an art to bagging groceries, man, and I absolutely love it. And I might just show up and start bagging groceries when I'm like 70 and just see how long it takes for somebody to kick me out of there. They can't fire me, right? Because I'm not going to be working there. But they probably could have me trespassed, which, perhaps this isn't really a good idea. But it's fun to think about. I still love me some Publix, man. And Publix, I know the scales are gone. Just please don't mess with the chicken. See ya.